effective concept is fragmentation. So we've covered with-itness, smoothness, momentum, and now it's fragmentation. This is learning to deal with individuals instead of groups. We need to know when to break tasks into smaller tasks. For example, cleaning a room. Now, most of the time, kids need to be shown a larger picture and then break it down step by step on how we're going to get there. Often, this requires not revealing a step until the prior one is completed, not to overwhelm the child. You could have two kinds of kids here, and I have them both. You can have the kid who needs to be told in step by step. You can give them the small steps all in one, and they're great. And I have another child that I can't tell. I have to say something like, clean your room, and then I give them one thing to do at a time, and I don't tell them what they need to do entirely. I just break it down step by step. For example, you go to your kid and you say, clean your room. What does that look like? I want you to make your bed. I want you to put your toys away. I want you to pick up your dirty clothes when you finished all that. I want you to pick up your shoes. I want you to dust your furniture from top to bottom. And then I want you to vacuum your rug. But when you break it down step by step like this, anxiety goes out the window. Everyone understands each other's expectations. I'm sure every mom is familiar with this and is nodding her head saying, oh my gosh, I know what you're talking about. This is fragmentation. Break it down into smaller parts. So let's continue with fragmentation. We can be focusing on a set point in lieu of a main point. That means like we're focusing on non-essential details. For an example would be pronunciation and definition finding. When we're teaching our lessons, we can often get hung up on these little things that we may not be doing correctly. This is where you kind of send your little chickens off to figure it out. One of the things I like to say the most is to say, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this correctly. I'm not sure of that definition. I don't know, that's a great question. Go and figure that out and bring it back to me tomorrow. And then you continue on with your main lesson topic. So don't get caught up and hung up in all those little details or rabbit holes that you can go down to. Go down those rabbit holes for sure, but do it after the lesson. Fragmentation can also be focusing on physical props rather than substance, like building or cutting out something that takes all of your class time to do. If you'll remember, we referred back to the weapon study class I did, where we do the material prep first. It could also be creating a lap book in class and you're wasting all the time on prep. Those wonderful little folds and cuts, do all of that previously to the class so that you can get more out of your lesson each time. Or passing out objects and materials. A lot of that can be done beforehand again and just keeping your lesson moving. This concludes our first segment of classroom management. We talked about the 4 effective concepts, and it's with-itness, smoothness, momentum, and fragmentation. What we want you guys to do next is to move on to segment 2, and that's going to be 6 common behavior problems to identify and avoid in your classroom. See you then.